Thank you for placing your order. The first step to install of your tint kit will be to properly clean the lights. You're going to want to use rubbing alcohol and a clean cloth. We've already cleaned this light, but you're going to want to make sure that you get that towel tucked into all the edges around the lights, as well as clean all the areas around the light itself, so that way no contaminants can get on the film during installation. Obviously this truck's a little bit dirty, but for demonstration purposes, we clean around and we will install. There's two options for cutting the film after you've applied it to the vehicle. The first option will be supplied in the kit is a knifeless cutting line, which we're going to demonstrate how to install. The second option would be to cut it by hand with a razor knife such as this. Obviously a little bit more riskier for someone who's not too sure of what they're doing. However, if you feel comfortable, by all means use a knife. That's our preferred method, but here's a safer method. You want to find the starting point. You want to make sure you leave 3 or 4 inches of line there over top of the light onto the tailgate. We'll show you why here later in the video. Now you're going to want to run this line, and this is why it's important to clean the edges. You're going to run this line right on the top edge of the light itself. If you see that little filament down the middle, that's what actually cuts the film. So that's where the finished edge is going to be. Obviously, this is where the benefits of using a knife over this line is. You can get a little bit deeper back in there. However, the finished product, from 5-10 feet away, you can't really tell the edge. So you want to just very slowly work this on there while following it with your thumb. Okay, move around here. So you want to just kind of work it back in there as best you can. And then slowly take it off of the supplied tube that it comes on, so that way you don't have too much material out. Again, you're just following the very far edge that you can get that on there. Okay. And you're gonna leave yourself a little excess on the end here. You have to use a knife to cut this. You cannot cut it by pulling it with your hands. You will cut your hands if you attempt to do it that way. So you need to make sure you've got a knife handy. Just cut it just like he is. Okay, and then you want to make sure you go back over top of this with your fingers. Just wipe it down. Make sure it's all adhered well. Okay, then the next step is you're going to pull these back all the way to the edge of the tailgate on both. Reason for this is it's a little bit easier to the install the vinyl. Now you're gonna also wanna take that cable off as well. Makes it a little bit easier so it's not getting in your hand. You wanna use a little flathead screwdriver. Pry up that tab, take the tension off. Very simple, that's out of the way. Once that is done, you'll just take this film or this cutting line here, you'll just work it down onto the truck. It getting dirty doesn't matter, it'll be okay. This way it's not in the way, you just get it back here, out of the way. And that's the knifeless tape down, and now you're ready to install your film. All right, next step is to install the film itself. You're gonna wanna peel the film off of the backing liner at as close to a 90-degree angle as possible. You can do this by yourself or with 2 people. It does make it easier. Now on this particular vehicle, you want to first start on the very back flat edge, which you'll see here as Jeremy is going to apply the film. You just want to kind of tack it down lightly. And you're going to start on this flat surface here. Okay. So we're going to take your time. There's no rush to this. This material has what's called an air release in it. So what that means is that if there's bubbles after you install it, you can actually get those bubbles out without a problem. So the biggest part of this process is that you just have patience and don't let yourself get frustrated. Okay, so you see where we got. Now, actually, if you want, you can peel it back if you get something you're unhappy with, and you can reapply it. You're gonna wanna use a heat gun like this. This is a multi-temperature gun. We also have, a much simpler one. These run a lot hotter. You're looking for around 750 degrees. So we're gonna set this here, 750. Now, the great part of this material is that if you get halfway through and you have a problem, you've creased it, you've got an excess, something, you can peel it back and start over. So you always want to heat the outside of the film, not the glue itself. You can see there's some little imperfections in the material itself. You can just apply some heat to the entire material and that'll go away. Brand new piece of material now, ready to reinstall. So now you want to get that, there's just enough material for these lights, so you're going to want to line up the edge as close to the edge of the light where it would meet the tailgate as possible. So that way you have plenty of material on the other end of the light. You want to use the soft side of the squeegee. You're going to want to lock down what we consider to be the flat surface. Now, just to show you on this light, it's done. This big, smooth, flat surface, you want to lock all this down so then you can pull the material around the edge. So you're locking it down evenly. You want to make sure you're keeping a little bit of tension on the material itself, so that way it doesn't want to crease itself or you're fighting it falling over on your squeegee as you're moving it. Now you can see these air bubbles, they move. You want to overlap at least 3/4 per swipe. You always want to keep an angle where you're pushing the film and not pulling the squeegee back over the film. See how he's pushing the squeegee there? You do not want to pull that squeegee. Show him the opposite direction, what I'm talking about. You don't want to pull that squeegee on. You want to push it just like this, exactly. And you want to work it evenly. So now we're going to add a little bit of heat here. Once you get it back to this edge, say about 3/4 of the way across this flat surface, you're going to add just a little bit of heat, and you'll see the wrinkles themselves change as you add this heat. Just till you see it starts to get a little bit. Just kind of pull it around that edge. And if you don't get it all at once, no big deal. You can kind of work it. See, then lock down this material here. Pull it back a little bit. Yep. So you just want to very slowly work the material down. Okay, so see, perfect example. We got a little crease here, so we can pull it back. I don't know if you can see it. We're gonna add a little bit of heat, just a little bit, and it's gone. And now he can pull that around that edge. Now you just wanna keep everything nice and taut. When you get back here, you're gonna actually move the center of this film. You're gonna lock this down, and then you work this top up and the bottom down. Okay, so a little bit of heat here. He's going to pull it, 2 hands, pulling it evenly in both directions, wrap it around. You can tack it down onto the paint to keep the material tight. A little bit of tension, pull it out. Now you're going to want to just heat this up a little bit. See, all these wrinkles will go away. Pull it tight. You want to lock down the light where the back reverse light is first. You want to get all of this done before you get anything else. So you can go all the way back to the edge. Perfect. Now, you've got these two fins. Now, this particular area you've got to take your time with. Once you've got that locked down, you want to pull this material right here up, lock it down. So you've got a nice, what I call bubble around that fin right there, okay? You can work it all the way back to there, all the way back to there. So you've got basically one big bubble of air right here. Then what you're going to want to do, apply a little bit of heat to the top bubble. So you're going to apply some heat here. We're actually going to start at this front edge. Okay, he's already heated it for me. I'm going to come in with my squeegee. You want to split the difference. So if there's an inch from where the material's touching here to the edge of this fin. Oh, that was a bad camera there. Sorry, we don't have extra people to hold the camera for us, but if there's an inch of material here, you're going to want to take your squeegee and divide that gap in half, and then you're going to take it, heat it, push it in, just like that. Okay, now you're going to heat the top of the material, which you can't see, but he's heating. You want to make sure you keep that gun a good 10, 12 inches away. You're going to divide that bubble there, push straight down onto that fin. Here, and Jeremy, I'm going to hand him that camera so you can get better. Let me see this. You just back up a little bit so I can show. I'm going to get in here with the gun. I'm going to heat this. And I'm going to come in. I'm going to push down into the bottom of that edge. Okay. Now the rest of this we'll pull back up like this, right? Straight. This is all taut. We're going to add some heat. You'll see these wrinkles go away. So a little crease there, so we'll add a little bit of heat. Lay that down. You always want to push like this. You don't want to pull like this, you want to push like this. Push all that film down into there. And then we're going to come right around here like this. See, we got a little crease. Pull this back. Add some heat. It goes away. It's great about this material. It's very forgiving. You just gotta have patience. Okay, now we're gonna lock it down to where you got a bubble like this. This is where this having air release is great. You very slowly work yourself around this edge. Okay, that air is going to come out of there. Now you need to add a little bit more heat. Okay. A little bit more heat. Okay, you just got to really take your time, and then you just work this material down onto this fin here. The air will move out. You can use your fingers as well to get down in there, rub it. Now you'll see this isn't ever going to be perfect because you're stretching the material around a fin, but it's locked down. So you start at the front of this, push the material down in. Once that's in, you'll heat again like this, work it down to that edge, come down here, heat the bubble, push down. You're going to work all this material down back here until you've got a nice, perfect unison circle. You'll heat, and you'll very slowly work the material around. So we're going to do it again down here. We're going to add some more heat. So it's good to have help. You can do this by yourself, but obviously having help makes it a lot easier. So we heated, pulled the material out till we've got a nice, smooth surface here. We're going to work this top down. Again, you want to push, not pull. You can use your fingers a little bit if you'd like, depends on what you're feeling. Now you gotta very evenly work this material around this shark fin. Got a big bubble here, right? We're gonna work this material down. You'll start to feel it get tight here, right? When this is tight, that's when you know you're about ready to start adding in some heat. Get this nice and tight again. You're gonna start on this outside edge right here. Heat it. You're gonna come in with your squeegee, push down to the edge of that fin right there. See, that's locked down. Now we're gonna heat it again. Okay. You're gonna start with this edge. You're gonna force that material down onto that fin, just like that. It's all locked down, back up. We'll then add heat to this part of the bubble. Start right here, work your way down, just like this. Okay? Now, if that was all nice and taut, then you won't have any creases back here. Should be nice and tight. You take your finger, you go around that until you've basically locked all of this air in, and then you will slowly work that material down and around. Add some heat there, Jeremy, please. Okay. Work that down. You gotta be very patient. The air will move throughout the film, and what air release means is there's invisible channels underneath the film that allows the air to escape. So you take your time. Heat that up, please. Okay. And you just very slowly work the film. The air will go away. Okay. Now that's the hardest part of this whole process. The rest, you always want to use the soft edge. Work your way around here. And you'll push the material down into the channel onto the cutting tape. Up top, see we've got two surfaces here with an excess of material. You want to make sure you've got this dot down back here. And then we're going to peel this back. You're too close. Add a little bit of heat. Once we get this back, a little heat. Pull it out. See, this is nice and smooth surface here. I'm going to work it both directions evenly. This way, that way, this way, that way, until it's down. A little bit of heat here. A little imperfection. This is great material. Not all film is made the same. Let me tell you what. This is by far some of the best stuff we've worked with yet, which is why we're making this video, because I think it could be a great thing for a lot of people that want to change the way their vehicle looks without having to buy a set of aftermarket lights that then you got to deal with LEDs and all kinds of crap that comes with it. So we're going to add a little bit of heat to this right here. We're going to pull this material up until it's nice and stretched out. We'll work our material up into that crease. Now you just need to make sure that you've worked the material far enough to where you've gotten to the other side of that cutting line that we laid earlier in the video. Okay, and you can work your way the whole way down this edge right here. We'll add a little bit of heat. Okay, I'm gonna pull it out like this. Work your way around that edge with the edge of the felt line squeegee. Okay, if you're not getting the material far enough back in there, you can pull it back and push it back in, right? You can pull it back. You can use the squeegee to really get it back in there. Okay, now we've got all of this is done. We've got to work this material down. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna grab in two areas here so that we can distribute the material. We're gonna pull it back a little bit. Jeremy's gonna add a little bit of heat. Don't worry if this right here comes up, that's no big deal. We're gonna add a little bit of heat. Okay, you'll feel the material start to move if you've got tension on it. Here's what's great about this. You got a little crease in that material. Okay, peel it back, add some heat, and it's gone. It's very, very forgiving. So that came back a little bit too. We'll just work our way back. Put the heat on there. Need more heat here. Okay. Sometimes I need some more heat on the film. Okay. Now work the rest of this material down here. Okay, now we're back to this edge. We're gonna need some more heat. Okay. Keep everything locked down. And you just very slowly, some heat on there, please. Work the film down and around. See, all this came back. We just add a little bit of heat. Pull it back down and around. More heat there. Little piece. Pull that out and around. And you just work this material down the whole way until you've got it just like this top edge here. So at this point, we've got the material down. It's worked everywhere around. What we're gonna do, we're gonna pull this edge back a little bit. We're gonna then grab our knifeless tape. We'll tack it down up here. We'll grab the rest of the knifeless, tap it down here. If you've got extra hands, you could have someone just hold this for you temporarily. Then we're gonna close the tailgate. Oh, lost our squeegee and our knife. We've got more. You're then gonna take that knifeless tape, peel it back up. You're gonna make sure you lay it straight out onto the tailgate like this, both top and bottom. Okay. This is what your squeegee is going to look like. It's not going to have this red buffer on here. You're then going to lay all this material down, sticking it onto the paint where this cutting line is. You can go back. Same thing at the bottom. I'm just gonna follow that line. Now, the point of this stuff, this is great. You're gonna grab the end, fold it over, put your finger, you're gonna pull rapidly like that. When you get to the edge, take your finger, back up a little bit, take your finger, a real swift pull. You're gonna pull it through the material. You wanna pull at a 90-degree angle the whole way around. This is actually cutting all of that film that we laid down, okay? So now that's cut. We pull that off of there. You'll wanna take a knife. It's very important when you're using this knife, you don't wanna have your blade angled like this. You wanna ride that blade on the top edge like this. So we're gonna run it using that back edge, riding on that knife, making sure we don't get too far in there and into the paint of the tailgate. We're gonna run our knife all the way down like this, okay? We can open back up. You wanna go over all of your edges, fingers, squeegees. Up here in particular, actually it all came off. Sometimes you'll be left with a little half of the green tape underneath of here. You'll have to just grab it and it'll pull off the whole way. Fortunately for us, we don't need to do that. So it all came off. And you just want to go back down, go around, and go down over top of all of the edges to make sure that they're stuck down real good. And that's good. And that shows you the install. Now that one there we didn't cut with knifeless. If you decide you don't want to use the knifeless tape, you just follow that procedure, work it down, and then you're going to do the same thing and ride the blade on the top edge of the light. If you have any questions, send us an email or give us a call.